Captain's log. Stardate 60111.7. The Coralli are missing. For the last few years, since first contact, there has been a fleet of around 50 starships aggressively patrolling their system. Now there are only 5 left, and Starfleet Command doesn't know why. I've been given the USS Jukskei to investigate this, and maybe even improve diplomatic relations at the same time. The concern is that either the Coralli have suffered some cataclysm they aren't telling us about, or that they're staging their fleet somewhere for a surprise attack on a neighbor, or even an attack against Starfleet. That seems irrational. Not only do we outnumber them, but their largest warships are barely a match for our older Mirandas. In a way, they're lucky they ran into us before one of the more aggressive powers in this region. Starfleet could flatten them in a matter of days if we wanted, but obviously we really don't want to be conquerors, even with people who've only been hostile towards us so far. Trouble is, we don't really understand their motives. We arrive at our staging point near Corelli Space in 2 hours. We'll start with passive scans. Personal log. Stardate 60112.0. I'm not quite sure where to start with these Coralli. Reports say they ignore our hails and maneuver damn aggressively if anyone flies too close. The Maldonado took a little fire from them once. Maybe Captain Hall is back in the sector. I could use some advice. Captain's log. Stardate 60112.3. No responses to our hails yet. Sensors seem to agree with long-range scans. There are hardly any Coralli ships about. The remaining handful are patrolling as aggressively as ever, and they've definitely noticed the Jukskei. We're keeping our distance, and so far they are too, but they are positioned to intercept us. Computer, record a message to Captain Hall. Hello, how was your last mission? Find anything exciting? I've included some background notes on my new job. Thought you might find it interesting. Class 3 Mysterious Strangers. I'm not really sure how I'll get through to them. If you can spot anything clever, let me know, will you? Thanks. Computer, send message. Captain's log. Stardate 60114.1. We may have pushed our luck too far today. Lieutenant Tavoth thought she'd sighted substantial signs of tritanium on a very small moon orbiting the smaller gas giant. Enough tritanium to make a fleet, possibly. So I ordered us closer to make some active scans. Our records show that we never actually crossed the border into Coralli space, but we obviously scared the patrol ships into intercepting us, weapons charged. They never actually fired, but I can't say if it was because they chose not to, or because I retreated us back to the staging point as fast as we could. Their ships might not be very advanced, but the group of them together could put a nasty hole in my little runabout. Our scans of the tritanium remain inconclusive, and the Coralli are still not responding to hails. But they're certainly sending a lot of encrypted messages back and forth. Computer, record a message to Captain Hall. Hey, just a bit more to add to yesterday's note. Those Coralli are now chasing my ship down too. And they're still not swayed by my charming blue eyes. While you're thinking of clever ideas, see if you can include ways to keep them from shooting at us. Computer, send message. Captain's log, stardate 60117.2. It's been a busy day. A gaggle of civilian ships flew out from the Corelli homeworld to join the warships and started scanning us. Our initial guess was that it was some sort of scientific analysis of us, but they were far too sloppy and chaotic. It even seemed like they were competing to get scans of us. We held position and didn't try to hide. I don't think they'll learn anything important about us this way. Anyway, after a while the civilians went home, and a few hours later we got a solution to yesterday's titanium signature mystery. 6 more warships launched from caves on that moon. Now we know what to look for. It seems like they probably don't have their entire fleet down there in the caves. But there are a few other small porous bodies in the system that might be used in the same way. We continue to scan. Captain's log supplemental. I've just been informed that the Corelli fleet of 11 vessels is closing on the Jukskei. We're withdrawing to safety and Starfleet has been notified. Captain's log, stardate 60117.5. I never want to play cat and mouse like this again. 11 warships on one runabout. We had better systems in many ways, but there's only so much that'll do against disruptors. Luckily they didn't seem too interested in travelling far from their system and we got away. We're monitoring them from a distance. Starfleet Command is considering scrubbing our mission. Personal log, stardate 6117.6. That could have gone much worse. And much better too. Reminded me of facing Dominion swarms. I really don't want to give up here. Being hunted down wasn't fun, but in hindsight they went lighter on us than they could have. They were pushing us out, not trying to kill us. And the organized, orderly parking of the 100 starships in lunar chasms isn't very hostile either. There's still something here to figure out. Some way we can talk to these people. Still no word from all. I thought there'd be a reply by now. I was really looking forward to catching up. It's been weeks now. Advice would have been nice too. I think we need to analyze Corelli civilian communications. I want to know what their ships are scanning us for. Captain's log, stardate 60118.3. I've informed Starfleet that the Jukskei is advancing to the Corelli homeworld at half impulse. I'm keeping our shields lowered and sensors in navigation mode only for as long as possible. We were too busy trying to interpret their military comms. The civilian ships yesterday were something roughly equivalent to news reporters. Their media systems are peculiar, but I'm pretty sure that's a fair approximation of their role. And if their hostility towards us depends on what their reporters are reporting, then I'm going to show them something much less scary and much harder to ignore. Captain's log, supplemental. We're closing with the Corelli defense fleet and at least some of their civilian ships. I hope I'm right. Captain's log, stardate 60119.3. We've landed on the Corelli homeworld to discuss opening formal diplomatic relations. There are a variety of linguistic and cultural barriers, but we were able to enter orbit unopposed. The ship's log includes the full transcript of our communications with the journalist vessels, but the bottom line was that they were more willing to listen to us than their military vessels. I'm not sure they were sympathetic exactly, but I spoke until I said something acceptable. Not sure what. Maybe it wasn't what we said, but how we said it. Personal log, stardate 60120.7. Hall sent a message insisting that we end all personal communication. No real explanation, just something vague about growing apart. After all these years, I just don't understand. We're getting ready to leave Kilraleigh space. Tavath just wants to do some engine diagnostics first. I'm hoping to finish analysing the cultural archives we exchanged with them before we get back to Starbase 83. Captain's log, stardate 60122.2. The Jukskei is returning to Starbase 83. Our contact with the Corelli was more successful than expected. Their political system is a form of democracy where opposing pairs of ballots cancel pairs of voters' right to act on the issue in question, so that only the unopposed excess of a majority are legally permitted to act. It's an interesting solution to the tyranny of the majority problem. When the Federation made first contact with them, they had a large majority favouring aggressive isolationism. As that majority got smaller, fewer of them were authorized to fly against us, and they were required to dock their ships at their moon bases. But they couldn't actually negotiate with us until the isolationist majority was ended. Our peaceful interaction with their media paid off and tipped those scales our way. The diplomatic corps will take over from here, now that we've opened the door. My runabout needs some fixing up.